Oh, beauty pal. Hi, friends. My name's host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Spanish People on TwFP Archives. And if you're not aware of this, I have a very, very important kitty friend. You can see her right here. She's an extremely important kitty friend. She's also a kitty pageant winner. She's constantly winning kitty pageants because of her beauty and her glory and her majesty. You see a very majestic kitty here, don't you? Yes, she's both majestic and an important kitty friend. Very important kitty friend. Yes, you are very important. There's no disputing that. People try to tell you otherwise, they're lying. So I can't sleep for shit right now. It's weird. We went to sleep like 2 in the morning last night or something. I don't know, late. 1 maybe. And I just can't fucking sleep. I don't know. It's what happens when I stay off of Adderall for too long. I lose the ability to sleep. Fortunately, I retain my very important kitty friend. Oh, yes. I want to ask the two of you who are here, have you ever met a more important kitty friend than this one? I don't think so. She has importance written all over her kitty face. It would be incorrect to say that she's not an important kitty friend. Last night I watched a movie with Rachel called Witness for the Prosecution. It's from like 1950 maybe, or 55, I'm not sure. But it's in black and white. And it's an excellent, excellent film. And at the end of it, it says, for the enjoyment of your friends and neighbors, please don't reveal any of the secret twists from this movie. It had like a little spoiler prevention thing at the end. Which was kind of worth putting there, because talk about a movie that's got some unexpected twists and turns and catches you by surprise. Witness for the Prosecution is great. Have you ever seen Good Morning, Winston's Mom. Have you ever seen Witness for the Prosecution? It's an old black and white movie. We watched it last night, and it was great. It was really great. I was like that the whole time, like, what's happening? First burner up in the morning is always a bit of a lunger. Oh, my beautiful kitty friend. I am so happy that Kitty's doing better. When we took her to the veterinarian yesterday to get her bandage changed, they said she was doing a lot better. So that's reassuring. You know, it's like the worst case scenario would be you take your cat to the vet and spend $750 and then the cat dies anyway, you know. That would be terrible. Yeah, I can't sleep for shit. But I believe I have a doctor's appointment this morning. I have to double check. I have to call him and double check because I guess I didn't write down the exact date. What's on the other side of this? is that? But it's this week sometime, and it wasn't yesterday. So I'm thinking it's probably today because I thought it was Monday or Tuesday. And I'm almost completely out of weed already. Even though we just got like over 7 grams, like maybe we got about a half ounce. No, we got less than half an ounce, but more than a quarter. We got like 3/8 worth of weed 2 days ago and burned through the whole thing now. Tyrone Power Charles Lawton. Is that the main lawyer guy, the big chubby guy? His name is Tyrone Power Charles Lawton. Yeah, I'll call them when they open. They're not open yet. I'm going to find out. The thing is, he doesn't need to even see me. He just needs to talk to me for a second because it's just to re-up my Adderall prescription because there are these laws that say, now the doctor has to meet with you every 3 months if you're on Adderall, at least every 3 months or 4 months. And so I have to go in there and I just basically go and say, yeah, this is fine. The current dosage still works fine, and I don't need any changes, and that's it. My dad is ridiculously insistent that these zits on my back, I should go check them out, get them checked out by the doctor because they might be skin cancer. Like, Dad, those are zits. I know what a zit is. Yes, I messed with these boil things on my back. I got these like 3 like boils, I guess you'd say, right there. You can see them. They're like zits that are, there's a line of them there. I'm not sure why right there. It's like a little constellation of pimples, but it is. Hi, kitty. You're back and better than ever, huh? So yeah, for anybody who should happen to watch this stream outside of it being live, the recommendation movie-wise today is definitely do see Witness for the Prosecution. Well worth your time. And it's surprising as hell. It's like it really who's Elsa? Is Elsa the lady who's Mrs. Helm / Mrs. Bull? It's a weird movie because there's this whole storyline of him being not well, the lawyer being sick, having a heart condition. And he has this really like overbearing, I guess you'd say, but that'd be too strong of a word. Like a very hen clucky nurse. That just sort of clucks over him the whole time and tells him to drink hot cocoa and to take naps and stuff. And he's always wanting to smoke cigars and drink, and she's trying to stop him. That storyline seemed weird because it's like why is he putting up with all this bullshit from this woman? But, it kind of developed nicely because at the end, it shows that despite her hen clucking, she prioritizes the same thing that he does ultimately. But I don't know. That was a little bit weird. It's like nobody has that kind of relationship with a nurse or a doctor anymore, where they let themselves get henpecked and stuff. I would hope. I agree, skin cancer is nothing to mess with. I'm just telling you those things on my back, those 3 spots, they are pimples and they're gradually going away. They're just kind of slow pimples. Yeah, I got the first of these when Rachel first came out here. I had this big, I broke out like crazy back in September when Rachel got to Los Angeles for the first time. I've been sort of squeezing them and everything ever since. Well, the one that I originally had is almost all gone now. But they are persistent, like boil things. And I'm also breaking out right now. I got a zit right here. Actually, Cloud, escape to this channel, hoping you would find me. Oh. And you have, which is good. I'm glad. I'm going to have to make videos from here from now on because my other channel is being suppressed one way or the other. Thanks, sport. Let me pull another bong rip. YouTube recommended makes wonders. Did YouTube recommend this? That's good. That's a sign that maybe I'm not being suppressed on this channel. It's like their strikes were bullshit in the first place, you know? At least the second one was. It didn't seem to make any difference. Just a warning was enough to get me suppressed, as far as I could tell. Okay, well, what I'm saying, what you probably missed in the buffering is I'm not disputing the significance of skin cancer. I'm telling you, these things are pimples. There's not any uncertainty about that. The only uncertainty about that is from my dad, who has no reason to have any uncertainty about that. It's like just because you can establish that there's a risk exists is not a reason to do anything about it. It's a bad heuristic. I had a really interesting argument of sorts with Horsemumber and Horsemumber's dad yesterday about dietary bullshit, which is all bullshit, of course. And it was interesting and telling the way that people become wrong. Well, they might have gotten infected, except they're all on the decline at this point. Someone said, and I think it was Hambone, but don't quote me, that dislikes will ding your channel enough to cause a shadow ban. Those pimple boils might get infected. Well, I mean, I think YouTube's trying to figure this out right now. And I think they're making some mistakes. And the problem is, the reason they're making mistakes is they're not being straight up with people. So it's like, I spent a lot of extra time on that TwFP channel that I would have jettisoned earlier had I not experienced this bullshit. You know, it's spent a lot of hours there. So I'm doing that under false pretenses in some sense. And that's not bargaining in good faith. So in that regard, they're fucking up. They're putting themselves in liability, ultimately, that they don't need to incur. And, you know, somebody might say, hey, it's entirely up to YouTube how they whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they're the ones who insisted that the language around here between creators and YouTube being so incredibly contractual in nature. Winston's mom, will you stop trying to solve my back pimples? My back pimples are fine. This pimple is quite aggressive at the moment, but it'll come to a head here pretty quick. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it seems to me that any reasonable person would agree that YouTube ought to be straight up with people. You know, if they remove from your channel any opportunity for success, no matter what or how you perform, then they need to tell you that. Because otherwise you're just wasting your time under false pretenses. Now, it's not it's not smoking the shake. That's Vine Cloud. Don't worry about it. Meow, kitty. It is the case that I did appeal, and I got no response at all. Like, I didn't get a response saying your appeal has been rejected. I didn't get a response saying anything. I've told you why I think you're TI polar, Cloud. All right, Cloud, tell me this. Who is my mother's father's wife's son's sister in relation to me? My mother's husband's wife's son's sister in relation to me. Correct. Well, you would. It's a pretty definitive TI proof. The answer is your sister. Your mother's your mother. Your mother's husband's your father. Your father's wife is your mother again. Your wife's son is you again. And your son and your sister is your sister. It's very straightforward. But for TI polar people, it's not at all. And it's not your fault. It's not a shortcoming of yours. It's just it is a definitive test, though. No. It's not. It's your sister. It's your sister because your mother's husband is your father. Your father's wife is your mother. Your mother's son is you, and your sister is your sister. So there you go. That explains it. And that explains why you're ESFP and not ISFP. It's like one of the clearest and most definitive tests we have. It's really the only really definitive test in cognitive functions that exists is the TI test. SI test is pretty definitive too. You can eliminate ENTJ, ENFJ when they can answer some basic kind of SI questions. But there's nothing more definitive than TI test. Is Ghostwriter here? I don't know if she's here or not. I mean, the thing is this, Cloud. I guess the one I asked you is probably a little bit harder than would be definitive for polar. Like if I were to say to you, who's your father's brother's son in relation to you? Who's your father's brother's son in relation to you? And if you have to spend a long time thinking about it and figuring it out, yeah, cousin. Okay. So, it's like if you can do 5 or 6 of those, in other words, instead of 3, 5 or 6, without any problem, then you're not TI polar. But if beyond 4 you start having problems, then you probably are TI polar. And so, you can figure that out yourself. You can have somebody test you and be honest about the results to yourself and not try to make the results what you want them to be and find out what you are, polar or 8th. But, I agree. A lot of ISFPs have pretty crappy TI too. It's true. I mean, it's a pretty clear line, but it's not an absolute bright line. So, you actually gotta test yourself, but don't, I don't know if you have the objectivity to interpret the results correctly. You might, I don't know. The other thing is, though, Cloud, and this is not definitive. I agree this is not a definitive reason to eliminate ISFP, but I, for one, has never met an ISFP quite as adversarial as you. In other words, ISFPs typically don't seek Cloud. Listen, No, I'm not going to. Because you're not interested in thinking about this properly. When you say, why don't you test NI or TE? You haven't met a lot of people. Those are FI things you're saying. No, those are FI things. I've met with shit tons of people. I've typed shit tons of people. I spent an hour interviewing them. I did that last night. I spent more than an hour with the guys. And I ask a lot of different questions. If you would like that service, you can pay for it too. What does that have to do with anything? But there are a lot of unusual people in the world. Are you rejecting the notion of personality types? Well, then fine, go ahead and reject that notion. I don't claim to know every anomaly. What does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. I can't claim to know every anomaly. I don't claim to know every anomaly. I'm claiming to tell you what type you are based on how you answer questions. I don't claim to be 100% right all the time. I acknowledge that at the end of those things, a lot of times I'll have it narrowed down to two, be pretty sure about one, but I was wrong about my own girlfriends, both the last two of them. I mistyped them as extroverts at first because they had FE tool, I guess. So, I acknowledge that stuff. This is what it sounds like, Cloud, when you do it right, the way I'm doing it. I'm not claiming to always be right or perfect. I do acknowledge that with more time, I'm more correct when dealing with someone. I do acknowledge that in an hour, I have a limited capacity to type the person, that I have a limited amount of questions I can ask, and that while I do rely on the pollers to provide us the only objective data we have about the thing, I also rely on more subjective criteria and other heuristics that help me to type somebody. So the thing that's here's where you're going wrong here, Cloud. You are trying to tell me that because you don't like my opinion about your type, which is just an opinion, by the way, at the moment, I've never typed you, but because you don't like my opinion about your type, that I'm typing people wrong. Well, that's where you're wrong. I type people better than anybody else does, by far. So I don't care, Cloud, what you say about what your reasons are. It's obvious to me that your reasons are FI. You're not actually successfully arguing against what I do. You're pretending as though what I do is less than what it is. You're pretending as though the fact that there's uncertainty in the world means I can't make legitimate arguments. I know, but what I'm saying, you're right. That's an FI thing you just said. No, you are, though. That's clear. And that's okay. A lot of people are. I do test NI. And I test TE to the best of my ability. I test it with value tests and stuff like that. I mean, you're just being silly. I don't need to justify my approach to you. I'd be happy to if you were actually interested in learning anything, but you're not. So that's it. You're just interested in winning arguments against me, which you always fail to do, which is why you get frustrated. So there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the sort of, adversarial, unreasoned provocation that is indicative of FI tool. Again, Cloud, you do like to make unsubstantiated claims, broad statements that maybe seem to link to some specific idea in cognitive functions that has some sort of consistency-based metric, I guess. But, the reason you can't reason is because it's not in your stack, dog. I don't know what to tell you. You keep wanting to play baseball, but you're coming out in football uniform and swinging an alligator at cheese instead of a bat at balls. So it's like, no, I'm not going to try to teach you how to play baseball again. But I mean, that doesn't change the fact that I appreciate your generally engaging nature. However, I'm not going to gauge on your terms in the way that you want me to. Well, look, I respect the desire to expose and wag your finger at wrongness. I totally respect that inclination. The problem is, Cloud, you need to be looking in the mirror. I mean, what matters is what's actually right and wrong, not just the process of seeming right or wrong, which is what you think. It's just like, oh, it's all about who seems right or wrong. It's why we're never going to see eye to eye, because you don't respect the fact that right and wrong are actual statuses that mean something. You just think that they're arbitrary. Yeah, you do, Cloud. I'm not misrepresenting you. I'm telling you the truth. Okay, first of all, I've never said I'm always right. I always say the opposite of that. Okay? And I do say I'm the best typologist because I am, and I don't lie, and I don't engage in false modesty. I have lots of reasons to believe that. I have a particular understanding of functions that is actually modelable, that treats information as though it moves certain directions, that it has as much validity as the internet itself, in the sense that it's modeled after the same notion of agents interacting on fields. Well, even a blind squirrel, Cloud. This is the thing. I do say I'm the best typologist, and I've got ample reason to support that. Now, on the other hand, I never say that I'm always right. But you said that I did say that. So you're wrong. Right? Cloud? So you're wrong again, right? Right, Cloud? You said here, you are always saying how you are always right. But I never say that. Correct? Cloud? Hello? Yoo-hoo! You see why it's a waste of my time, Cloud? Now you see why it's a waste of my time. I mean, you literally couldn't have been more wrong. I actually never say that I'm always right. I never say that. And you said that I always say that. it's like you're almost impossibly wrong. It's like you set off on a journey from wrong town to wrong city hall, trying to get more and more wrong every step along the way. You always behave as if you are always right. Well, what does that look like, Cloud? Tell me. Just because you are never right when you're combating with me like this, doesn't mean no one's ever right. It just means you're wrong. A lot of people are right. So, I mean, once again, dispatched of Cloud's nonsense. I'm out of weed. I'm out of speed. Mia to me. What are you gonna do? Nobody knows. I think I might play a song on the guitar. That might be the only solution. And you know, there was that guy that got into my car the other night, and rifled through my shit. And well, he didn't really steal much of anything because there wasn't really much of anything to steal in there, except there was a little bit of weed in there, which he stole. And normally, when I'm out of weed, I'll go to the car and get some from the middle thing. Because I always got a little bit in the middle thing, but I don't now. I don't know if I have any. I don't know where my seeds are. I have seeds somewhere, but I don't know where. I have to find them. I could go get seedlings, I suppose. That would be a good idea. That would definitely be a good idea. I usually do plant weed, but I usually have seeds. I'm not sure where my seeds are. Cameron probably has some seeds. I could probably ask him for some. You know, I found a little bit more weed. This is this moon rocks, though. God damn it. These moon rocks are pretty meow. I'm not really feeling them. They've got a lot of, like, it's like a lot of shitty weed combined together, basically. Like shitty keef with shitty. No, Cloud, you're wrong. I haven't made a case. I've offered you a tool that you can use to better type yourself if you want to use it. You don't want to. Why have I not made a case, Cloud? Why have I not made a case? Hey, Cloud. Remember, I'm not typing you. Why am I not typing you? Do you remember? Because you have to pay me. That's why. You don't want to pay me. So you don't get typed by me. Well, I believe you're an ESFP. Just because I haven't typed you doesn't mean I can't have beliefs. Doesn't mean I can't have opinions. No, Cloud, you always bring it up. It's one of several things you like to always bring up because you like to be adversarial and have conflict and be combative with me. This is not in any dispute. I don't want to type you, Cloud. If you want me to type you, pay me. He's an ISTP. Pretty sure. Almost 100%. Well, keep your eye out when those are available. Grab one if you have an opportunity. The fuck I won't already have. You're wrong again, Cloud. Once again, you say factually untrue things. I already asked you a couple of CI questions. So it's not true that I won't ask you one question in the live stream. Once again, you're wrong. It's like it doesn't seem to concern you. You just move on to the next thing to be wrong about. That's the problem. Yeah, ISTPs are harsh in general. This guy, I would say, was not especially harsh. He was a 9 ISTP. But you know, we got into it a little bit, arguing about dietary stuff. And he told me to stop being belligerent. And I said, I'm not being belligerent, you know. And then we had this, he basically was saying, like, calm down. I said, no, you'd be more animated. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you more animated? Of course, when you turn shit like that on people, it makes it very evident that they're bullshit, you know, that they're full of shit. There's no reason why I shouldn't be animated in my passionate advocacy for the truth. Cloud, you think I'm just playing with words because you don't think words matter. So we're not going to see eye to eye on this. Okay, well, you do that then. You exert some of your energy having pity for those who take me seriously. That's a good use of your time. Why don't you go do that now then, okay? You go off and muse about the sorrow that you feel for those who take me seriously. Go run along now. Go on now. Run along. You've got important pitying to do. So anyway, ISTPs. Let's see. Yeah, they yeah, I was not being belligerent. He just didn't like the fact that I was calling bullshit on bullshit, like people normally don't. You know, but he was an ISTP, and as a consequence, he stood no chance from the outset. You know, it was like, I wouldn't be calling bullshit if it weren't bullshit. It's fundamentally a wrong notion. And it shows you how ISTPs can get frame walked. He was like, okay, he's trying to explain how bread is bad for your stomach, right? And you think ISTPs have a case of grumpy cynicism because they think life sucks because they can't see possibilities? Yeah, you might be right there. But you are interesting, Cloud. You piss me off a lot with your nonsense, but you're interesting for sure. And you are a valued member of the community, frankly, despite your nonstop bullshit. Or maybe because of it. I don't know. I appreciate the engagement, as I told you before. But you want to insult me all the time. And so, you know, I'm going to end up insulting you back. That's just how it is. I do appreciate it, actually. You're wrong. I've told you this on many occasions. Why do you insist on just saying factually untrue things? I do not evade your questions, Cloud. You want to control the frame here. and I don't let you. That's what's happening. You want to control the frame, and I don't let you. So how did any polar show up? Well, it's like, okay, so this is the example, right? He's trying to argue that bread is bad for your stomach somehow. And he says, I said, well, explain to me the mechanism by which this is bad. And so he said, now, okay, well, here's an analogy from the book that he got this idea from. You know, it's like your teeth. You brush your teeth every day, not because you're feeling any symptoms of cavities or anything, but because you know you need to do this in order to keep your teeth healthy. And if you don't, over time, gradually, your teeth are going to get worse and worse and more decayed and more decayed. And I said, okay, so what exactly is the equivalent mechanism in the stomach? And he said, well, I mean, it's because the bread causes your stomach to get gradually worse over time. And I said, no. I mean, what's the equivalent mechanism to plaque and tooth decay? Like, how is it that your stomach decays over time because of bread? Now, look, you'll note that my teeth require a maintenance process, right? In order to keep them healthy. You're saying that my stomach does too, but not eating bread is not an example of a maintenance process. And you've given no reason to presume yet that bread is actually responsible for this decay of the stomach. And you've also not given any example of stomach generally decaying from a lack of maintenance process. Okay, so Cloud, here's the other thing is I don't break off friendships. Actually, I don't. Other people avoid accountability and avoid me because they don't want to deal with me at a certain point when they're responsible for something. Those people have what is known as accountability avoidance syndrome. The good news, Cloud, is you don't have that. You don't have accountability avoidance syndrome. You do have what I would call, no, there's actually already a name for it. You have oppositional defiant disorder. You just sort of mindlessly oppose and defy everything all the time. It's not a real thing. I'm joking, Cloud. They say it's a real thing. They do say there's this thing called oppositional defiant disorder. I think oppositional defiant disorder is an insanely ridiculous diagnosis because it acknowledges that the person's not doing anything wrong, but that they're just being too oppositional. And so therefore they have a disorder. Well, I call bullshit on that. But anyway, that would be like if you that's what somebody might diagnose you as, Cloud, is just being pointlessly oppositional all the time. But that's fine. I'm not. I get it. It's like I don't think you do either. I'm not saying you do, dude. I totally am not trying to pathologize you. Okay, I have done nothing in the past but make fun of the whole idea of oppositional defiant disorder. So I am not saying you have any sort of disorder at all. I'm just saying that you don't. I'm specifically saying you don't have what I call accountability avoidance syndrome, which is to say, I don't think you're a narcissist. I don't think that you have BPD or something like that. You're just a provocative young man, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's my whole point. And I do appreciate it. It's not true that I don't appreciate it. Just because I don't let you pull bullshit doesn't mean I don't appreciate your general contribution to the community and the conversation. I do appreciate those things. And I value them. But at the same time, you keep trying to insult me and shit, and obviously you're going to end up getting the back of my hand a lot. Let me guess, Cloud. You're going to say something like, I don't try to insult you. Okay, you don't want to provoke you. You want to explore me. Okay, but look, Cloud. So when you said you feel sorry for anyone who takes me seriously, that wasn't intended provocatively? What was it? The objective truth? I don't think you're objectively being honest about your feelings, Cloud. I don't think you actually feel pity for people who take me seriously. But it's kind of hard to say that's not provocational, right? Okay, let's see what's going on here. Oh, that was truth. Really? So you actually feel pity for people who take me seriously, huh? Okay. Well, it may not have been provocational, but it certainly was insulting. So even if it weren't provocational and it's your actual opinion, you can't really blame me for insulting you back, can you? Okay, well, that's fine. So then you shouldn't be surprised when I say insulting things to you. I am. You're right. And you're insulting me. So fair is fair, right? Right? Cloud? Cloud, hold on. We're not done with the topic of insulting each other. It's true that we're insulting each other, right? Yes, correct? Hello? So you don't want to answer any questions. Hold on, Cloud. You're not answering my question. You're not being a person. You're being autocrat. I don't want you to pay me $100. I frankly don't want to type you. I might turn it down. But I'm saying if you want to insist that I type you, do what everybody else who gets typed by me does, which is pay me $100 or get a free session if I offer one or whatever. That's fine. I mean, I've typed enough SFPs to know it's not very fun. They don't like to find out what type they are. Yeah, have Spacey type you. He's cheaper. And you probably respect him more. So why don't you have him type you? No, I have never solicited your business. You keep soliciting my services for free. Well, I bet you if you got typed by Spacey, there's a decent chance he'd claim your TI polar too. Then that would be fun for you. Oh, so you're just being provocative then, Cloud. We're back to that. Cloud. It makes it fun because I'm claiming your TI polar. So you're just being provocative. Right? Is that what you're saying? See how full of shit you are? See how constantly full of shit you are? That's what I appreciate. It is fun for me to have you constantly bring bullshit in here. And I will also say that some of the bullshit you bring in actually does provoke in me some good thinking. So you ask some basic level questions sometimes that cause me to go and review the thing and say, okay, let me explain this difference because no, Cloud, I've also said to you, then take advantage of one of the free sessions when they open up. Sometimes I do free sessions. That's true. Take advantage of one of them. You haven't done so. I know they're not this talkative. It's ridiculous. I was like, ask me any question. You're doing nothing but demonstrating a slot NE in service of your dominant SE and then supporting it with your bullshit FI reasons. You're an ESFP. That's my opinion. If you want more than that from me, then you can choose to do what everybody else does. Every FI Dom has a lot to say. You've not hung out with very many ISFPs. I mean, talk about ridiculous. It's absolutely not the case. That's true, Cloud. You're right about that. There's a difference between chat room talk and real life talk. And I will agree that in the chat room, but nevertheless, that's incorrect, Cloud. ESFPs are the type who are most likely to insist they're not ESFPs. INFPs talk a fair amount, but ISFPs no, look, there Cloud, and this is the other thing. There's reciprocal burdens here. You do that kind of stereotyping, quote unquote, all the time. Like very frequently. You make bald ass statements like that. Like ISFPs are very quiet. You say shit like that constantly. And then when somebody else says it, you say, oh, that's just a stereotype. And you don't apply the same standard to yourselves to others. It's textbook TI polar shit. No, it's correct, actually. It's not dumb. ISFPs are quiet. They have any polar. Big difference between any polar and not any polar. Even in the chat room, they're quiet. But I agree, it's hard to say from the chat room because I have encountered some ESFPs who post long stretches of text. Like there are ISFPs who will write a very long comment, for example, or send me a long text. Like there's an ISFP named what's his name? I forget his name. I did a video with him one time, and he he'd send me long texts talking about how he felt about whether or not he wanted to make a video right now, which it was like that. Those long texts were full of words, but they were all about, you know, his hesitancy to be in a position where he had to talk a lot. Okay, well then, Cloud, that would be a good reason to presume that if I were going to be sure about it, I'd need to do what? Cloud, I need to do what? What would I need to do then, Cloud, to actually be able to tell if you're quiet or not? What would I need to do, Cloud? Right. And so what would you need to do to make that happen? There's two possible things. What are the two possible things you could do to make that happen? Okay, so you can't have your cake and eat it too, Cloud. You don't get to control the frame here. You don't get to insist that I do things on your terms and ignore my terms entirely. So, too bad. I acknowledge I have no certainty about it, but my firm opinion is you are an ESFP and you are TI polar. That's my clear and firm stated opinion. I don't bring it up. I'm not the one who brings up topics like this that require me to address your wrong statements. When you make wrong statements, I correct you, period. If you don't want me to correct you about your being TI polar, don't make statements to the contrary. I do not bring it up a lot. I mean, you are a great example. I guess I use you as an example sometimes. Well, like this is an example of blah, 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 blah. No, I'm definitely responding to you. Like, by and large, I don't talk about Cloud unless Cloud is here chatting with me, in which case I do talk about Cloud. And the fact that you always want to bring up, as you did today, I believe this conversation began with, let's see. Sure I do. Absolutely. And I will bring you up too as an example of an ESFP who insists they're not. That's my opinion about you. I agree. I've never typed you. And if pushed on the issue, I will always acknowledge that I'm not sure because I never typed you. But that's my opinion. I'm allowed to have opinions that are unsubstantiated. I have to acknowledge they're unsubstantiated and just opinions. If you say nobody should take that seriously as a typing of me, I agree with you. That's why I'm a TI user and you're apparently, as far as I can tell, TI polar. Let's see how this conversation started today. Cloud, I'm going back up to the top here. Let's see. After saying, Eric, unfortunately, I'll not be able to watch you a lot in the future. And I said, okay, cool. He said, quote, I just wanted to know why you think I'm TI polar. So how did the conversation come up, Cloud? Again, Cloud, as I've stated, I don't have to be 100% sure of something to operate as though it were true. And I do have to acknowledge that it's conditional on further evidence and that it's less certain than it would be if I had spoken to you in person. But to the extent that I've engaged with you so much in this medium, I do have a fair amount of information about you at this point and good reason to conclude that you're an ESFP. You might dispute that. That's fine. Am I going to change my opinion because you dispute it? No. Am I going to stop using you as an example of an ESFP in my stories? No. Sorry. And that's okay. That's my prerogative. You can have, like you said, you feel sorry for anybody who takes me seriously. That's your prerogative. And you can go around and tell everybody that you don't take me seriously and that you think I'm an idiot and all the other things you want to say. And I can go around to people and tell people, I think you're an example of an ESFP. I know you do. Go for it. See my point? Or you still don't see my point? I don't care, Cloud. Go ahead. Talk all you want. I'm not trying to silence you. I'm not trying to tell you what opinions to have and what to think and what to say. Good. Go ahead. That's fine. I don't care. Yeah, Ethan McDonald, he's not interested in doing any sort of objective testing on himself. He's interested in establishing what he already believes, and that's it. I mean, really, he's not even interested in that. He's just interested in proving me wrong. Mostly, it seems like. See? So, I guess we got to the bottom of it then, Cloud, didn't we? Conditional logic is not something I invented. Oh, my goodness. Boy, Cloud, you are really a piece of work. I did not make up conditional logic. I taught logic. It's a subject in school, you know. It's like math. It's got like right answers and wrong answers. I taught it. conditional logic, you can take it in college, for example. You can take Logic 101. Do you think I made that up? Those are basic logic questions. They're not. Okay, no. Logic is correct. You're not even worth talking to at this point. You're just. Okay, well, Ethan McDonald. Look, I'm not saying I'm a perfect typist either. I'm just saying I'm the best typist available. Okay? So I am subject to some kinds of being wrong, obviously. Do I make up stories about people when they don't provide enough information? No. I tell stories to justify my typing. When those stories don't align then with what the person says, I change my typing. Because I'm smart like that. Watch the last typing session, Ethan McDonald, and you see what actually happens rather than the way you framed it. What actually happens, I begin telling stories about the person based on the typing I made. And the person doesn't confirm those stories. They say, no, that's not really right. And I realize, wait, this is inconsistent with some other stuff they told me. So I revisit the issue, and then I get it right. And that's how you do things properly. So, Ethan, you're wrong too. However, even if you were right, it doesn't change my central thesis, which is I don't have to be perfect, and it can't and won't ever be perfect. I just need to be the best, which I am. Feelings do have a logic to them. It's called flogic, which is say feelings logic. And it calculates the logic of things like, how do I tell this person that they're doing something that's not really working socially without hurting their feelings? How do I make sure that their feelings are prioritized while also making sure that saying the thing I need to say is prioritized, and also making sure that Julie doesn't get her feelings hurt in the same process? That the kind of thing that is calculated by flogic. And there's nothing wrong with logic. It's an important kind of logic, but it's not conditional logic. It's not TI. It's a different kind of logic. It's the alternative to it. It's an interested calculus rather than a disinterested calculus. Look, the thing is, logic and grammar are basically the same thing. And I'm also a grammar teacher. And in fact, it's one of my favorite things to teach. I was teaching it yesterday to my students, Chloe and Jeffrey, and I remembered in the process just how happy I am with this grammar book I wrote called Orderly World of Grammar. And I'll show you here. I'll get you a link to it. Now, the thing is here, this is a book I wrote that is about a system of teaching and thinking that's not mine. Okay, so I want to stress this. My mentor teacher, the guy who taught me how to teach, this is his methodology for teaching grammar. But I'm the one who put it into a book and formalized it in this fashion. And so, once again, it's like, the reason I'm showing you this stuff is I do not come to my ideation without background of other people's ideation. I am not standing here. I am like everybody standing on the shoulders of giants. So it's like, why am I so good at logic? In part, has to do with being so good at grammar. Why am I so good at grammar? Because this man taught me to teach it. And that's a good way to learn something. What's not a good way to learn something? Negating everything. So when I learned how to teach grammar in this fashion, I had to put aside all my own thoughts and all my own feelings and all my own opinions about what ought to be or blah, 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 and direct myself to I do come to my ideation without smoking weed, actually, Ethan McDonald. That's insane. That's ridiculous. I've gone plenty of stretches in my life without smoking weed, and I'm exactly the same pretty much after about 4 days off. There's just no difference. Anyway, it's like I went and I learned the grammar of English thoroughly his way. Even though it's a big ideational thing, it's not mine. I incorporated all of that information into my ideational toolbox. I am 48 years old, which means I am done with my prep period. So one of the big prep areas of my life was learning grammar, learning how to teach grammar, and writing that book. That was part of my preparation. Of course, being a debate coach has been massively important in beating my preparation in general as well. Cloud. In this instance, you're correct that I'm pointing to a source, but the book was written by me. Dum-dum. Okay, you're just being ridiculous. I'm done talking to you. What movie did I watch last night? I watched Witness for the Prosecution. It's an old movie that is black and white, and it's starring this big chubby guy who's this lawyer, and it is quite a surprise pack of twists and turns. It's like it genuinely. I didn't see what was going to happen. Didn't see what was coming. I won't spoil it. At the end of the movie, it even has a request to the audience goers that they not share the twists and turns with their friends and family, which I thought was interesting. It's like a mid-50s spoiler prevention message. But I highly recommend this movie. I like court movies anyway. It's funny, Rachel said it after the movie. She's like, I usually do like courtroom dramas or courtroom movies. And I always do too. I get a kick out of courtroom shit because like in this movie, the main character is clearly an ENTP. He's so quick, But he gets even though the movie's like 50, 55, 60 years old or something. I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. Yeah, and I gotta say, it has been so satisfying. I've been living very satisfied lately, satisfied and content. The one problem I'm having is I can't sleep, but I will take a nap later today, I'm sure, and that'll be relaxing and whatever. But as a general rule, I'm having a lot of trouble sleeping right now, and that's an issue. But other than that, I'm super happy and content. I look forward to the day. I look forward to doing a series of small things. Like yesterday, we got PP's bandage changed at the vet. We went in and chatted with my dad in the evening just for the purpose of chatting with him. That was nice. We watched that movie. We got some lunch at In-N-Out. It's like getting a little serious, and I did that typing, yada, yada, yada. That kind of shit is very satisfying now in the status quo, because well, I'll get back to why the because, but one of the movies that's now on our list of movies we want to see is Treasure of Sierra Madre. No, we does not give you the ability to ideate. We does not make you ideational. We does not activate your NE. That's not true. It just is not true. How do I know that that's not true? Well, I know that's not true because I've spent periods of my life without smoking weed, long stretches at times, and I have not changed fundamentally. I'm the same person. If anything, marijuana allows the NE to be a little bit slowed down so that I can focus on one thing more and be less scattered, if anything, and not much of that. So there's, I don't want to get into the argument about Eminem being an ISTP or an EHP. It's not a winnable argument, but the fact is, there's good reason from just looking at his interviews to think he's an ISTP, and those reasons are wrong and misleading. The Treasure of Sierra Madre looked interesting. We went to this website where it lists like the best 50 black and white movies, and so I got from that list like 4 or 5 that we were interested in seeing. But we started with Witness for the Prosecution, and I think the next one we're going to do is Treasure of Sierra Madre. I don't know if that's the next movie we're going to watch, but I think it's the next black and white movie we're going to watch. Another black and white movie we watched from before, this was a while ago, was Top Hat. Now, Top Hat was a really interesting film because it's like 39. It's really old, but it's, it's a little ahead of its time in some ways and a lot ahead of its time in other ways. For example, it's Fred Astaire and I don't know if it's Ginger Rogers or some other lady. I think it might be some other lady in it. But regardless, there's this scene where it rains and they're in the park and then they dance. And then later on, they're talking about that experience in the park. And basically, it's very clear in the film that they ask the girl, like, did you give it up? Did you let him have sex with you in the park? And she's like, yeah, I did. and she's like, well, and then later on, there's the guy who doesn't end up with her, who's this character who's a Italian designer and who's played interestingly as a character. It's weird. He's got like this, like, I am been out of Spain and I am going to, it's kind of strange, but anyway, he's gonna try to get on this girl because I guess I don't remember the exact plot point, but she thinks she's gonna marry him or something, and then he's like, I don't want to crush the beautiful flower, and she's like, oh, don't worry, I ain't no flower, you don't gotta worry about crushing me. Like if she was making it clear, that she was no virgin, and it all seemed quite risque to me for the time period. It was awfully progressive in that regard. I was surprised because you wouldn't have seen that in 1950. There's no way. There's no way they would have done that in 1950. It would have been too scandalous. Oh yeah. What happens? I mean, give me the gist of it, Ethan. I'm curious. Another reason we know that smoking pot doesn't cause people to have NE, which is an insane notion in the first place, but is Cameron, my friend Cameron. He's an ISTJ. He comes over here and smokes just as much weed as I do, and he never turns ideational. Rachel smokes a shit ton of weed. She never turns ideational. She's always NI. She doesn't become more creative in her NE or something. It's ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous notion. It's an attentional manner. It's not something that changes because you smoke weed. You can't activate it. You activate your NE. No, you're paying attention by extroverted intuition as a main frame all the time, regardless of what drugs you're on. Boy, Winston's mom, what are you inflicting upon some poor American family that hires Cloud as a nanny? Without wondering why she had fallen from the sky. Yeah, that's some bowler in it. Yeah, I got to see it in the ISTP last night too. The way I asked for synonyms for words, and he came up with one, and it was like started to try to think of some other ones, and it was just like, well, yeah, that one. Like, there's the answer. Why do you want more than that? I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I'm gonna play a little guitar, a very little guitar. It's gonna be the size of my palm someday. In the meantime, I'll play this regular size guitar, I guess. I noticed, Winston's mom, that when you asked me to put the camera down on the guitar part, it didn't stay there, or it wasn't there the whole time when I was playing. I'm sorry about that. I thought it was, but it wasn't. I'm going to play the same set of songs I've been playing, and I'm trying to get it, I guess, used to. El Nino, my ass. You call the storms. Where is the rain? Busy, busy, don't count, I drizzle more. When I pee in the sink, just the right height, catch all of the undesired splatter. When I'm done, I'll go outside and climb a ladder. I will go up there, make me a bucket and pour water inside. And I'll say, hey, Mr. Cloud, drop it from the bottom. Hey, Mr. Cloud, drop it from the bottom. Hey, Mr. Cloud, drop it from the bottom of me. That's a really good idea, Winston's mom. That is a really good idea. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make this. I'm going to make a coronavirus my ass on using the same song, upload it, and see if it can find some footage in the world. You know, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that. Logic to life we decisively unlike it, from which will rarely budge. People everywhere gather up, enemies outraged at how they miss a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities ensuing heartache and misery follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting arson and desiree, we're stuck in such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Jubilee shares now her limits, hoping Jubilee will do. Larry shares both for minutes. He just can't share things like they do. And Julie always thought she should have bought two when she had the chance to buy. Julie never forgot about should have not called those you ever call. People everywhere gather up, enemies outraged at how they miss a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities ensuing heartache and misery follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting, cursing, and desiree, we're stuck in such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. I mean, you're right that Rachel ideates, as an NI-DOM does. But my point is she doesn't ideate differently after she smokes pot. Right? That's obviously the case. No, it doesn't take enhancers to properly engage NE. That's absolutely ridiculous. I am just as good at freestyling shit when I'm not on Adderall as I am when I'm on it. Frankly, sometimes better. Same thing with weed. I mean, granted, I usually have smoked weed at some point during the day, but how long does this weed supposedly last to engage your expert intuition, keep it afloat, Does it wear off at some point? It's ridiculous. It's quite likely that high NE users are drawn to smoking marijuana, especially ENTPs. That's true. But you've got the correlation backwards, Ethan. Obviously. My goodness. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a pot. Get the margarine, tater tots. He's got a good idea for a name changing business. Thinking now about what if for Christmas when they hire his firm with that name. Gerald always thought there'd be chance enough to return to the work left her up. He'd get back to it eventually. And visions piled up, and his plans would interrupt all the work that started off so hopefully. In my back on the business, thinking of changing backlist to listless. So how all the people will call his name. And Gerald knows he understands ever more clearly now. He wrote that expression regarding the why or the how. He'll see you and know you from inside your heart. Exciting, delighting, Gerald plays his part. And Gerald still knew there's too much to do. He had dropped time in the interview. Too much to rebut, and where now and what? Too much time picking this view with you. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot to get the margarine tasting spots. He's got a good idea for an name-changing business. Thinking now about what it called Christmas when they hire his firm to take that name. Gerald has a thought. Okay, so look, Ethan, what have I been doing right now? I'm doing SI, right? I'm playing songs I already know, I've memorized, and I'm playing them again. But I just smoked a bunch of weed. So if in fact it were to activate NE, and my NE is exclusive more or less to my SI concurrently, going concurrent because they're in the 1-4, then why would it be that I'm doing this SI stuff right now? How would we, like, I'm going to smoke a bong rip and I'm going to play another song of mine that I already have memorized, okay? Now, that's not NE, right? Because I'm playing something that I've already played before. If, in fact, marijuana activated my extroverted intuition, why wouldn't I be ideating right now? Why wouldn't I be making up a new song? We can definitely agree that playing a song I already know is not ideating, right? Well, I could at any time, but I'm not right now. If, in fact, my extroverted intuition were activated by this, wouldn't I be doing that ideation? Right, it would be ideating if I changed it on the fly, but I'm not changing it on the fly. I just play this bong rip when I'm playing the songs that I play, right? I know how to play them, and I'm playing them as they're supposed to be played. So where's the ideation? There's no ideation. I'm trying to make this is an attempt to get to NI, right? I'm trying to play the song perfectly as I can. There is a perfect way to play it. And I'm trying to not deviate from that. So how is this extroverted intuition when I play this song right now? Every life lived reaches a time when the road splits in two. There are times, dark times, times of despair, times when it's hard to feel good. sack full of solvency and my satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. That's the same as SI do. There's no difference right there. Every life lived reaches an end when the road disappears. When I'm there, will there be anybody else around? Will I travel all alone? That's when I look for my sack full of solvency. I am a satchel filled up with home, and that satchel of nothing but bone. Satchel of helpful goods. 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 Okay, so you're not being honest then about what you're saying it's activating, because what you were then saying is it's activating not just NE, but NE or SI counts as being activating NE, right? As long as I made it in the past myself. What if I play a cover right now? Where's my extroverted intuition then? What if I play something from a fake book, as I often do? I play a cover or I play one of my own songs, which I will do, where I'm looking at the chords and the lyrics because I don't have them memorized. Okay, so it just activates brain activity now, not necessarily extroverted intuition. Could be any of the cognitive functions then, right, Ethan? Okay, so at this point, it's time to go back to the drawing board, Ethan, and revisit this notion and decide that it's wrong inherently, and jettison it from your thinking because you don't have any grounds to stand on. Oh, I see. For me, it's any. For somebody else, it's just whatever. Come on now. Now you're just being not intellectually honest. Only if you have it in the dominant slot or no matter where it is. And if no matter where it is, why only that function and not some other function? You've not explained to me why, and I've demonstrated you the opposite of that. So there you go. We do know that marijuana doesn't activate my extroverted intuition, at least not to the extent that it precludes me from doing introverted sensing or extroverted thinking or anything else. So you're wrong, you know? I'm doing a lot of TI right now. I just smoked weed, but I'm doing a lot of TI. Oh, well, if you're just fucking with me, then I don't have much respect for you, I guess. Because decent people don't do that. Sammy has a story that need be told. This is a song for an open road, and such a thing must always do its job. Married up Jeb, turned 19, 4 years in, 3 kids weaned, weary now and questioning the path. Agency outpaces discretion, locking in our courses way too young. The urgency converters barely justify depression, making sure those underneath them always run. They'll get 25 burping fun, likewise they'll get 21, and so forth well up into middle age. Once it seemed to set him free, became his whole identity. Now look about another drunken break. Agency out, faces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression. They'll offer you incentives, but they haven't got a thing that's fun. Everybody's panicked about the kids. Lock them up with extra dexedrine. Mathematics to produce success, or impose more unjust duress. Agency outpaces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. Significance is really just projection. They'll offer you incentives, but they haven't got a thing that's fun. Without consent, it's really just oppression. While parasites surviving on their wages earned by lying, while they feed their fear of dying. Yeah, they feed upon the futures of the young. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. What a wonderful song. We all enjoyed that a lot. Let's try again. Let's try another song. The other song that I play when I'm here from this thing. Agave Weatherman. Here we go. You'll enjoy this one. This is a fun one. You'll enjoy the fun, I'm confident. Duplicate. Duplicate my tab, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, girl. Duplicate my tab. Duplicate it hard. Duplicate the living fuck out of my tab. Oh yeah, that's duplicating. That's juicy. Duplicate it. Duplicate it harder. You're not duplicating my tab hard enough. I've told you this before. I like my tabs duplicated really hard. Oh yeah, that's better. That's better. A lot better. Here we go. Well, you're living on the time frame that I will never know. Alienation and humanity's soul. Imagine you a future after the collapse, returning to the urgency of isolated past. You're picturing a community free of metaphysics, hunting buffalo while you're picking red delicious. Knowledge of the seasons, wisdoms of old. Fire blazing in the night to keep away the cold. Hostility is kept at bay. But what you think is in the way of life as children of the land, with an agave weatherman, imagining a history that never could have been. You lecture at the college, advancement is a sin, lamenting disconnection and every corporate act, asserting on your feelings and ignoring all the facts. Hostility is kept at bay. But what you think is in the way of life as children of the land, with an agave weatherman. Like fine modernity just sober now. Wish you had lived any time but now. And visualize nobility sipping on some port. For tribes of peaceful savages and beautiful comport. But few of history's people ever thusly take to board. And life is solitary, nasty, brutish, poor, and short. Hostility is kept at bay. Hostility is kept at bay by what you think is in the way. By what you think is in the way of life as children of the land. With an agave weatherman. With an agave weatherman. The end. It's a wonderful, 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 wonderful time for all. Bill Walton. Oh, those two words make me seethe. Which two words really make me seethe? I'll tell you the two words right here. Bill Walton. You know, somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody other than me came up with the name of that and was responsible for the song. In other words, they said, I wonder if people a long time ago used an agave weatherman. Because in this video, I talked about how the agave only blooms. It's called a century plant. It only blooms once in its life, and then it dies, and it waits until it's a really wet year. So she was sort of, it doesn't make any sense that they would use that as a because it would be too late. You'd already have had the weather by the time that tells you any information about the weather. It only tells you about what's already happened. But regardless, I liked the idea of an agave weatherman. I thought it was a particularly ridiculous idea to use the "Hi, Dad," or to use the a century plant to tell you when. Hi.
I got
Hold on.
ground beef. There's quite a bit of hamburger there, but you can take a look at it. If you want to make the sauce, that's fine. We got plenty of pasta.
Okay.
But it's there if you want to use it. So.
All right, cool. Well, so yeah, Rachel and I'll make dinner tonight. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I just would remind you that there's we got mac cheese, we got some rice already made.
Okay. Well, so do you want to do dinner or not?
No, I'm just saying there are leftovers that can also be used.
Okay, cool.
If you want to use them, that's fine. I'm just reminding you that they're there. That mac cheese is actually pretty much 100% unused, but made.
All right, cool.
All right. So whatever you choose to do, if you want to make that. But actually, if we're having spaghetti, we certainly wouldn't need mac cheese or any of that stuff.
Right.
All right. How about I make the salad?
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Then you take care of the rest.
Yeah, we'll do the sauce and we'll make the pasta.
It's in the meat drawer.
All right, cool. Thank you. Okay, well that's cool. Now we've got
just that also, you don't have to use it, but there's some tomatoes and things on the shelf out here.
Okay,
canned
cool.
Tomatoes.
All right, cool. We're gonna make our pasta and sauce thing tonight, I guess, and well, whatever about the side. Dad's, he's gonna make the salad. That's fine. So yeah, so that's where I got the idea of agave weatherman, but it was still percolating in my head until I additionally, after reading that comment and thinking that was a cool idea and a funny idea, I then watched this video of this horrible professor who is like the one I'm talking about in the song. It was like, now what happened? Disconnection between people and blah 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 blah. And she was that professor who I'm singing about in the song who lectures at the college that advancement is a sin. And so those two things came together and created that song. And that's the story. Yeah, here's the thing about that, Winston's mom. I tried that to go in there periodically, but it's like he's not actually quite as regular in his timing as he used to be. I don't want to be going back in and out of there waiting to see when he gets there, seeing him talk with him. He can come out here and talk to me in the morning. It's fine. Or I make a point of, Winston's mom, will you stop teeing this shit? It's hard enough as it is. It's like I just got to play it by ear. I do the best I can. I know I complain about it, so I've got no business telling you not to tee the solution. If I'm going to complain about something, I better be receptive to solutions. I respect that. But no, it's fine. I deserve it. If I don't want solutions, I shouldn't complain about shit, right? That's the bottom line. That's the winning argument about that. It's like that's the ENTP thing that they say to other people. Well, if you don't want solutions, don't complain about shit. Because just complaining about shit isn't going to do anybody any good. Call Healthcare Partners Temple City.
Calling Healthcare Partners Temple City office. Thank you for calling the Temple City office. Joe. If this is a life-threatening emergency, hang up and dial 911 or go to your nearest emergency room. To ensure quality service, your call may be recorded or monitored. Please listen carefully as our menu items have changed. You've likely heard about the growing number of cases of the viral respiratory illness known as COVID-19 or coronavirus. It is important to know that 80% of cases are mild or without symptoms. Symptoms are flu-like, generally involving a fever, cough, or shortness of breath. If you think you have COVID-19 symptoms or have been exposed to someone who does, please continue to stay on the line to speak with one of our team members before visiting a clinic, urgent care, or emergency room. Everyone plays a part in preventing the spread of this virus, including each of us. Please remember to wash your hands regularly, practice social distancing,
Okay, Mom.
and stay home when you're sick. Thank you for trusting Healthcare Partners with your care. For medical advice, press 1 to speak with a registered nurse. For appointments, press 2. For medication refills, press... Thank you for calling your Healthcare Partners doctor's office. Healthcare Partners is a top-rated medical group offering coordinated care to Los Angeles and Orange County communities. Learn more about our top-rated clinical quality at www.iaj.org. Your call is very important to us. A member of our staff will be with you as quickly as possible.
I hate this song. This is the only song they play on hold at this place.
Do you need to request a prescription refill? Here are a few things to remember. Call your pharmacy for medication refills at least 1 week before you run out. If you do not have any refills left, the pharmacy will contact your doctor to obtain refills. If you need an urgent refill, please contact your doctor's office directly. Thank you for calling your Healthcare Partners doctor's office.
You're welcome.
Healthcare Partners is a top-rated medical group offering coordinated care to Los Angeles and Orange County communities. Learn more about our top-rated clinical quality at www.iaj.org. Your call is very important to us. A member of our staff will be with you as quickly as possible. refills at least 1 week before you run out. If you do not have any refills left, the pharmacy will contact your doctor to obtain refills.
No, it's alter controlled.
Please contact your doctor's office
There's no shit. You gotta like go to the pharmacy, give them your ID,
Thank you for
and
calling your Healthcare Partners doctor's office.
you know,
Healthcare Partners is an operated medical group offering
you have to
coordinated
get checked every 4
on
months to get just to have the same medication
Learn more about our
continue.
top-rated clinical quality at www.iha.org.
Adderall straight up speed, so it's like, you know,
Your
it's
call is very important to us.
like
A member of our staff
mini
will be
meth
with
in a
you as
pill.
quickly as possible.
It's just unmethylated meth. Yo, Nicolay Shea. What's up? I'm trying to find out when my doctor's appointment is. I forgot to write it down. Or I didn't really forget to write it down.
The pharmacy will contact your
Hello?
doctor to obtain refills. If you need an urgent refill, please contact your doctor's office directly. Thank you for calling your Healthcare Partners doctor's office. Healthcare Partners is a top-rated medical group offering citizen care for Los Angeles and Orange County communities. Learn more about
I don't
our
want a
top-rated
3-month
clinical quality
supply
at
either.
www.iha.org.
Doctor tried to give me more than a month supply at one point, and they actually were going to fill it.
Your call is very important to us. A member of our staff will be with you as quickly as possible.
But I told him I don't want that because you know the thing is I know myself and I will do it all. You know, I like having a limited amount. I like the amount I get each month, which is not that much really.
The pharmacy will contact your doctor to obtain refills. If you need an urgent refill, please contact your doctor's office directly. Thank you for calling your Healthcare Partners doctor's
They used to let the
office.
song play longer.
Healthcare Partners is an
Now you
operated
just
medical
get the
group offering coordinated care
do
for Los
and
Angeles
then
and Orange
right back to
County
this
communities.
message again.
Learn more about our top-rated clinical quality at www.iha.org.
All I'm trying to do is find out when my appointment is. It should have sent me a text or something like
Your call is
reminding me.
very important to us. A member of our staff will be with you as quickly as possible.
I'm not believing you. I don't believe my call is very important to you. If it were very important to me, you would be on it already. It's less than very important to you. This lady has told me this so many times now. I don't need to hear this anymore, lady. You're literally just wasting my time if you're repeating yourself. Again? I just heard this. You're not listening to me, lady.
Learn more about our top-rated clinical quality at www.iha.org.
You are about to learn about my foot up your ass and making me wait so long, lady. There we go. Hi, my name is Eric Strauss, and I'm trying to figure out when my doctor's appointment is. It's sometime this week, if I recall correctly, but I don't remember exactly when. Can you tell me when my doctor's appointment is?
Yes. Can I have your date of birth?
4/27/71.
Okay, let me take a look here. For security purposes, can you verify your address and phone number?
Yeah.
Like the big clinic,
Yeah,
possibly being exposed.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring was you guys might want to change it to phone appointment or video conference, which would be fine with me if that's what he wants to do.
Okay. Yeah, so Dr. would like to change it as a phone appointment. Okay, give me one moment. Let me just take a look at your chart.
Okay.
Thank you. Run out. 2. If you do not have any refills left, the pharmacy will contact your doctor to obtain refills. 3. If you need an urgent refill, please contact your doctor's office directly. Your call is very important to us. A member of our staff will be with you as quickly as possible. If you ever have an urgent medical need when your doctor's office is closed, call your doctor's office to reach the Healthcare Partners 24-hour patient support center. For life-threatening emergencies, call 911 or go to the nearest hospital emergency room. Healthcare Partners' model of coordinated care means that your doctor and other medical professionals work together to keep you as healthy as possible. As that we can help you find the right specialist, because all your doctors have access to your lab results.
This is pretty exciting. Eric on hold with the doctor's office, right? Oh my God, you guys got to check this out. Eric's on hold. It's the most amazing live stream ever.
Need to make an appointment? Want a copy of your lab test results? The patient online. Okay, thank you for holding, Mr. Shaw. So, the best callback number for you is the 626-615-8751.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So, yeah, just keep an eye out. It should be around 11 or earlier. And it would be Dr. Chen calling you.
Okay.
So I already put your number on here, so it might be an unknown number, so just answer the phone.
Okay, yeah, I will. I'll keep my phone on me and answer whoever, any numbers I don't recognize or whatever.
Okay, all right. Is there anything else you need assistance with?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. Thanks a lot. Bye. Cool. I don't have to go. Yeah. Woo! Success. Yes. The virus does something good finally for me. I don't have to go down there. I just have to take a phone call and tell them, yeah, I still want Adderall. That's so much easier. Yay! Woo! I'm so excited by that. That makes me happy. Hooray! I can't believe how happy that makes me. That's really great. I don't have to go down there. It's going to be so much easier. I just have a quick phone call with them. Wait, who's calling me now? Hello? Yes? Hi. Okay. Let me stop you right there. You do know that I just talked to somebody about this, right? Okay. No, I talked to a lady. I called. I couldn't remember if my appointment were today or not. So I called in and she told me he's going to call me at 11 o'clock or a little before. Okay, so go to LabCorp and get my blood work done. Oh, okay. So, and when do I have to do that by? Okay, sure. So So does he need to talk to me at all, or can I just go down there and get the lab thing and then go get the lab work done? Okay, sure. So I'll answer the phone whenever he calls. I'll keep the phone by me and answer it, and I will come down there at some point and pick up the instructions for the lab work. Okay, cool. Thanks. Okay, cool. Thanks. Bye. That's a good question, Winston. I'll ask the doctor. Apparently, he's going to call me in 5 minutes, so I guess they're ahead of schedule or something. And they want to do lab work on me because I guess they just want to see if I'm healthy or something. I don't know. You know, the doctor knows he's got me, basically. He forces me to do checkups to get my Adderall. So that's fine. I don't mind that. That's, you know, if there is something wrong with me, obviously I want to know what it is, you know. But I'm quite confident there's nothing wrong with me, so whatever. Well, I mean, the doctor's office said go down there and pick up the thing, so I have to go down there anyway. They must know if it's open or not. Functions don't activate, though, Ethan McDonald, for the millionth time. It doesn't work like that. It would make some sort of sense if you were to say that smoking weed drives you away from one attentional manner towards another, perhaps. You hear what the thing said there? 80% of cases are so mild that they have no symptoms. Can you believe this fucking hysteria? No, you're not good or bad at them. You attend via them. So you're habituated to them or not. You're dominant or recessive, so to speak, in them. Like, for example, when you realize shape constancy, you master the basic process of attending by introverted intuition, understanding that things exist as a whole, not just as component parts. That's wrong about the gas thing, by the way, Winston's mom. Gas is not a problem. There's no need to ration gas at all. There's plenty of gas. There's a glut of gas. Because, why? Nobody's fucking driving anymore. You know, it's like nobody's driving anywhere because there's nothing to do. For the first time, and I don't remember how long, quite a long time. No, it depends on the slots, Ethan McDonald. You have to factor in slot mechanics. I've gone over this shit with you before. You're just trolling at this point. So yeah, I'm all over the place at the moment. I guess I need to smoke more pot to calm myself down. Oh wait, that would be contrary to Ethan McDonald's central premise. You know, we need to go to the weed store today. We're out of weed, more or less, and I've got shit to do. And this fucking virus thing is just ridiculous. It's like, oh my god. The plan's not gonna stay the same. Here's the thing: only one side has a sustainable position. There's my phone call. Hello? Okay, thank you.
Always remember, you are the most important member of your healthcare team. You can take care of yourself in a number of ways by walking 30 minutes a day, eating a variety of
Virus becomes the cost of doing business is perfectly reasonable perspective. Trump's right about this. It's been right from the outset. That's the thing about people who like are groupists is they don't care. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Yeah, given the current situation, we'll go ahead and just do a home visit instead.
No problem.
I take it you're doing okay. Everything's fine. Everything's the same.
Yeah, everything's the same. Yeah, it's like I have no desire to change dosage or anything like that. Everything's working great.
You don't need any refills currently.
Well, not for another 4 days or something.
You do need some refills, however.
Yeah, I heard. Okay. Well, I'm not really worried about it. I think it's a little overhyped, frankly. Your message says 80% of cases have no symptoms. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's right. Yeah, that's true. And I do live with my elderly father at the moment, and I have an elderly mother as well. So yeah, it's a good point. Well, I'm hunkering down like everybody else, you know. Okay, that'd be great. Okay, cool. And right on. So yeah, that sounds good. And so will you send the prescription in 4 or 5 days to the pharmacy? Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, I will do so. Thanks a lot. Bye. You too. Bye. So I told a little fib there. I had to lie in that circumstance. Nothing I can do about it. Do you happen to have a video explaining a cognitive stack in some detail, or could you recommend an ADHD-friendly resource on the subject? I really need to make such a video again because my understanding of things has developed somewhat, and I need to make a basic sort of instructional video on how to think about this stuff and you know. So I think I'm going to wrap this up and prepare to go to the weed store here pretty soon. I'm going to go take a bath. I'm going to awaken my precious bag of wonder and spectacularness named Rachel Apollosa. Oh, Ghost Rider, hello. I'm sorry I'm leaving right as you arrived. How tragic, but unfortunately necessary. as I have things to do this morning besides just hanging out, much though I may enjoy it. So, with a fine yet slightly Ethan McDonald with a fine and yet slightly lamenting heart, do I bid you a very, very fond, immensely fond, and temporary adieu, as I will be returning later with more live streaming, I'm sure. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.